to another level. To another level.
And we're back. It's all about the center of attention now. This is the pentagon at the 12 o'clock position on your Pentagon of Power template. Now, center of attention, what does that mean? It's all about where we are directing our focus, what you're making a conscious choice of focusing in on, and where you're directing your attention. Center of attention's powerful. If it's that posture that's the quickest way to change any state, it's now up to our center of attention to truly be in command of it with respect to where we are placing our energy. Look, what we focus on, where we put our attention, is exactly what we feel. If I'm focusing on all the things that are wrong and terrible and bad and everything that's not happening in my life, I'm really going to start to feel like crap. Truth is, what we focus on, where we place our attention, is exactly what we're going to feel. Now, this is a bit of practice. It's going to take some practice, and hey, that's why you're doing this. Think about it in business. When you're setting your outcomes for your business, are you focused on all those challenges and everything that's going to hold you back? We might be aware of them, but is that where your center of attention is? Or are you instead focusing on that outcome where you've already achieved all that you wanted to, where you're able to celebrate that success and see the great work that you did to get to that place? I've got to believe that that center of attention is going to be focused on moving the business forward, on achieving those outcomes and landing, right? Landing those big contracts, getting everything in place that you always wanted to. Not focusing on, oh my God, we're not going to make it there. Oh my God, there's so many things that are going to hold us back. We don't have enough resources. We don't have this. We don't have that. If that's our center of attention, if that's where it's directed, we're going to have a really long journey ahead. Instead, get focused in on what you want. Now, the center of attention, this one is powerful. This one is incredibly powerful. And I want to share a little story with you. Recently, I was on a cross-country flight. I was going to serve some clients on the other side of the country. Of course, I'm not going to drive, so I got on the plane, flew over. Going over there was pretty uneventful. It was the flight back that was kind of interesting. So here I am. I was working away on one of my other programs. I had the tray table down in front of me, clicking away, typing away, writing up some content. I happened to look over to my left, and I see there's a lady there. Right? And she's doing her thing, she's having a drink, she's all happy and stuff because she's focused on enjoying that moment. All of a sudden, we start to feel a little bumpy in the cabin. Pretty soon the captain comes on. Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts. We're experiencing a little bit of turbulence right now. And so I did it, closed up my laptop, put my tray table up and all that, made sure that my seatbelt was on. And I happened to look over, and here was this lady. Her center of attention had radically shifted. And when I mean radically, she was literally sitting there having this death grip on the arms of her chair. She was crossing herself, I kid you not. She was praying because her center of attention and her focus was on the untimely demise of each and every one of us. I believe, looking over at her, noticing, number one, that posture of her body, that clenched hand. And then when she could make the cross real quick, and then boom, right back onto those arms of the chair. I know with certainty that her attention was focused on the absolute worst case scenario, on the absolute worst outcome. She was terrified. She was white. She was sweating. It was completely amazing, and I was fascinated by watching this because here I am. I'm just, okay, well, put my tray table up, everything's good. Laptop went down underneath the seat, I'm good to go. Right? Really, it's not in my control. If the plane's going down, it's going to go down. There's nothing I can do about it. But here is this woman, this person here, and she is absolutely focused on exactly the worst thing that she possibly could. Now here's what's great. Pretty soon, the turbulence chilled out. It mellowed out. There was no more turbulence. Right? You could see her relax because all of a sudden that focus, that center of attention changed. It changed to, okay, let's get another drink. And sure enough, before too long, the flight attendant came by, she ordered another drink, and all was well again. In that moment, though, All this person could focus on, though, was the absolute worst thing that could possibly happen. You could see the fear, you could see the radical shift in her entire state. Those two things were coming out. Number one, the posture. Number two, that center of attention. It was quite literally, please God, don't let us die. That's where that focus was. The focus was on the absolute worst case scenario. What if we changed it? What if instead of focusing on the worst thing that could happen, what if instead we focused on the best thing that could happen? This is just a minor inconvenience. All right? The turbulence is only going to be here for a little while, and pretty darn soon we're going to be out of it. Things are going to be great. What if that was the focus? Do you think that lady would have had a radically different experience if that's where her center of attention was directed? I really truly believe that yes, she would. See, we as human beings, we have the ability, please hear me when I say this, we have the ability to take charge of our brain, to really do that, and with lots and lots of practice, doing it over and over and over, becoming masters of that mind, we can learn to control our brain over our brain controlling us. What was happening in that moment with the lady in the seat across from me? It was that reptilian brain, that lower reptilian brain firing off. Fight, flight, or freeze. Trust me, in that moment, she was frozen. She was frozen stiff with absolute fear because that center of attention was focused on the absolute worst thing that could happen. What if we could focus on something different? What if we, for our businesses, got laser focused in on what it was that we were now about to achieve? Look, if my state is confidence, if my state, my mindset that I'm developing here for my own Pentagon of Power is certainty and confidence, what do you think I'm focused on when I'm looking at my center of attention? Am I focused on all the things that can go wrong when I'm in that state of certainty? That doesn't line up, does it? It's not congruent. Think about this. When I'm in that state, that mindset of absolute certainty, I'm focusing on all the great things that are about to happen. I'm focused on the fact that I am in the process of winning. Look at that language right there. That's pretty important. I'm already in the process of winning. I can't lose. This deal is happening no matter what. We are successful. We are hitting our targets. We are hitting our goals. Wow, when I'm focused on every single one of those pieces and I'm not giving any energy to what's not serving. And remember, what's not serving? Well, all the things that could come up. Here's the thing though. A lot of people go with the what if scenario. Well, what if this happens? What if? What if you got 5 extra contracts over what you expected? What if your business made an extra $100,000 this month over what you had projected? What if all the people in your team did more work than they've ever done before? Now, aren't those great what ifs? See, we don't have to associate what ifs with negativity. We can start to associate our what ifs with some really great, positive, impactful results. What happens there? We shift that center of attention. We're literally commanding it to focus in on what we want. Now, again, I really want to stress this. This isn't just some woo-woo feel-good stuff. Doesn't it make sense? When you're working towards an outcome, when you're working towards a target, isn't it better to focus in on all the needle movers rather than the things that might hold you back? Isn't it great to focus on that forward momentum? Isn't it really great to direct your center of attention to exactly what it is you want? I already know the answer to this question, and that is yes. Our center of attention is powerful. Our center of attention is the difference between achieving what we want and getting what we don't. Isn't that interesting? We get what we focus on. We get where we choose to direct that center of attention. When we take control of our minds, when we take control of that cognitive belief system and rewire it to hone in, to tune in, just like a radio station, to tune in to what it is that we want, you will move radically faster towards that outcome versus looking for all the challenges along the way. I'm not saying we're going to be oblivious and blind to some of those things that may pop up, right? We're going to be aware of them, but our focus is on moving past. Our focus is on the solution. We are all about solutions-focused mindsets. And to create a solution-focused mindset, it takes becoming a master of your center of attention. Now, how do we shift gears? If we've got that mindset about, oh man, everything's going wrong, right? It's difficult, we can't do this, it's too much, we don't have enough staff, right? Listen to those stories that you're starting to tell yourself. You're focused in, your center of attention is directed in on all the things that are wrong. And when you give strength to all those potential activities that are wrong, guess what? You're going to get more of that. What you focus on is what you get. So why not focus in on what it is that you really want? What do we have to do? We've got to go ahead and discover those beliefs. Remember, we've got that cognitive belief system going on. What do we want to do? We want to feed it with the right fuel. We're not going to feed it with all the negative and all the things that are going to hold us back. And what if everything goes wrong? What if everything goes absolutely right? What if you absolutely crush it? Right? It's just a question. It's just a question phrased a different way. What we want to start to do is look at all the things that we believe. What are some of the beliefs that you hold true? When you look at your business, do you believe that it's going to be successful? Or do you believe that there's many challenges ahead? When you look at your own ability to stand and deliver and serve, are you of the belief that you have everything that you need right now within you? Or are you believing that, gosh, there's so much more I've got to learn, right? I can't celebrate until I achieve X. Take a real great look, a look within, a look inside yourself and understand where your center of attention is directed towards. Is it directed towards what you want, i.e., all those empowering beliefs, all those ideas and thoughts that move you towards your ultimate goal, your ultimate outcome? Or instead, is it busy focused on all the ways to protect you? Remember, your brain, it's hardwired to want to protect you. It's hardwired to want to save you from grief, from embarrassment, from loss of connection, loss of love, right? Loss of money, loss of all these things. And when we are focused in on loss of, we'll get more of that. This is really truly the power of this. And this is why I'm spending a little bit of extra time on the Pentagon for your center of attention. Decide what those beliefs are that you hold true that move you forward and really write them down. We're not going to write them in the center of attention Pentagon quite yet. We want to capture them though. We want to identify what they are. We want to identify then the most powerful ones. Which are the ones that if you were to focus in on those every single day consistently, right? Maybe it's, I have everything I need. Our products and service are amazing. This is for the right person, and this is about to change businesses the way they do business. What if that was some of your beliefs? What if that's what you could really get behind and stand behind and really move from there? What would happen? What we're looking to do is capture maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 of them that really exemplify where you're going, that really relate back to that state. We want to tie it in with that state. Now, if I'm looking for joy, right, everything around me is roses and rainbows, and I don't say that sarcastically, but maybe that's a belief that I've got to get behind even more. Maybe that would be a belief that I would have to practice every day. Maybe that center of attention Pentagon is telling me exactly where I've got to focus my attention. If I truly believe that everything around me is roses and rainbows, everything around me is exactly what I want, and I'm living my perfect life right now, if that's where my center of attention is directed towards, guess what? My life is going to be much better than thinking that, you know what, this life is bullshit. This life isn't what I want. This isn't what I asked for. If my center of attention's on something like that, it's going to be a tough life. What we also want to do is we want to bring them to life. We want to say it, just like I'm making declarations here to you, right? Life is filled with roses and rainbows. I have all the answers that any business would ever need. We want to begin to embody that. We want to make sure that it's congruent with the state that we're looking at, right? I mean, here, I'll give you an example. Perhaps your state is passionate, right? And passionate, I'm talking romantic. If your center of attention is focused in on I am strong, I am convicted, I bust through any challenge, if that's the center of attention, we've got a little bit of discongruency there. Whereas if your center of attention, if your state is passionate, and your center of attention is something along the lines of, right, I'm a natural born lover. I respect my partner's time, and I love spending time with them. They complete me, I complete them. If your center of attention's directed towards that, you're gonna have a radically different experience. And I mean, let's face it, who doesn't want to be respected like that? Who doesn't want to be loved like that? I'll throw up my hand absolutely every single day. You're gonna command that out, you're gonna say it, because it's one thing to think it. It's another thing to write it down, and an even more impactful thing to say it. And we've got something very special planned up of exactly how to fit it into your standard vocabulary, how to upgrade your vocabulary and set you up for success to get focused in on those amazing centers of attention that really expand, that really embody that state that you're now about to create. Identify what those beliefs are. Identify exactly where your center of attention must be. I am focused on the outcome. I'm focused on the goal. I believe that anything is possible. Identify those top ones and write it in your center of attention pentagon at the 12 o'clock position.